Welcome to Nice Try for the Fans. This is me, Elle, and I am joined faithfully, as always, Timothy.
Buddy do, baby.
Whew. Heart stopping. That's not a prediction or anything, but we've been through so much. I was telling someone earlier today that I don't think we're the kind of team, we're the kind of people, we're the kind of nation who could get this far, get through what we've been through, the bleeding against the French and crawling against the English. We're not just gonna give it away. There's still enough fight in us, I believe.
Yeah, I think if you looked at England's match, you'd think that we are in trouble. But like you said, I think this is just... yeah, but a loss for words. But I think this is a culmination of 6 years. I keep hearing the refrain, we're not going to go down, or the saying is we're not going to die wondering. And I think that is the ethos of the team. Cheslin, when he charged down in the post-match interview, said, I didn't want to say that I didn't give it my all, and I left anything not to contribute for the gents. And I mean, I joked and said, what are New Zealand playing for? And I'm sure they have their reasons, but it's amazing what having a goal and having something worth fighting for can propel you to. And I mean, we'll talk about the teams. I think the coaches are mindful of fatigue. So
yeah. Well, while you're gathering your words, let's not get into it right away. We've got a lot of other things to talk about. Of course, we're building our all-time greatest Springbok lineup, and today we're looking at that final position, the guy right at the back, the last line of defense, the fullback. We're also going to be looking at some news because, of course, World Rugby announced the nominees for several awards, which gives us something else to talk about while we try and take our minds off of that final. And then also earlier this week they announced the extension that will be implemented in the next World Cup. Let's start there. So let's skip looking ahead to the final and look ahead, way ahead, to 2027, because this week we found out that World Rugby, they are changing things up a bit ahead of the next World Cup. That's of course 2027 in Australia. And so this year we had 20 teams, it was 4 pools. Next time around there will be 24 teams taking part. And then there's also going to be a new 12-team Nations Championship, which will start in 2026. And the results of that Nations Cup will affect the pools for 2027. What was interesting with this change-up with the new teams is that there's now going to be a round of 16, like we have in the in the Football World Cup. So round of 16, as far as I understand, that's also knockouts. So now we're going to have an extra round of knockouts. Do you think this is good for the game? Or is it just all positive? Or is it too soon to tell? Where are we at?
I've been hearing sort of diverse and some people questioning the decision from World Rugby, and I think there are merits to both sides. Obviously, World Rugby is looking at it, I think, primarily from a commercial point of view. And that is how they're seeking to grow the game. Whereas the rugby purists, and I know the vote was very close. It was, I think, 1 vote.
Yeah.
Really dictating it. And so, at least in the voting side of things, there seems to be quite a well, quite varied opinions, and obviously some people are disappointed with the outcome. In terms of the quality and what's going to take place, time will tell. I know that there are people that are forecasting the smaller nations might suffer, just the way this is structured, and like I said, there is some credence to that, but we don't know. It's a bit tough to speculate, not having the full insight, obviously, that you think the union or World Rugby has. For all the talk about lopsided games, I think that's just something that can happen. I think back at the FIFA World Cup, Germany beating Brazil 7-1.
So lopsided can happen even with the top nations.
And for my money's worth, this has probably been one of the more entertaining.
Oh yes.
We can definitely point to some standout matches, although obviously most of the matches were sort of decided beforehand. That's just the nature. Rugby is not a commercial vehicle, like football, that will incentivize growing your own structures. They are dependent on World Rugby to a large extent, and the home unions and the bigger unions. So we'll see how it works out. I don't have a firm opinion on it. I know the South African Union, they haven't disclosed yet, but as far as I know, South African Union would be inclined to go with this new format. So we'll see how it works out, and hopefully it grows the game and we see the development of these smaller countries.
And then in other news, the nominees for the World Rugby Awards were announced as well, and South Africa well represented by Mani Lebok, nominated for Breakthrough Player of the Year. I mean, it's tough. He's in excellent company, but I hope also in the context of this World Cup, I really do hope that he gets it. He was, of course, outstanding for his club in the URC as well, so hopefully that plays in his favor. But yeah, well done to him for getting that nod, and just to South Africans being among those nominations. Coach of the Year sees Jacques Nienaber nominated, but for me, I was really excited because Fiji's Simon Ravalui, he's nominated, and I'm thrilled for him. It's tough though, because Andy Farrell, who's done a great deal for Ireland, he's in there along with, I don't know, Ian Foster, New Zealand? Is it because he's in the final?
Must be. I think both would have a greater shot.
In the grand scheme, like if we're looking at the year, as it is of the year. It's not of the last 3 weeks. And is that even Ian Foster? Is it the players rising up? But
I think I know what's happening there. Should New Zealand win it, they have the manager. And should South Africa win it, they have the manager. Because it will be an outrage if one of the possible winning managers aren't included. So I think they're just covering their own skin.
Okay, sure. You've made sense of that. I would just play it safe and give it to Fiji. No one can be upset about that. A category where I was a little disappointed was with the try of the year. We've got Duan van der Merwe, and it was a stunning individual try from the Six Nations where Scotland played against England. And then also a great team try, one could say. Damien Penaud of France, also in the Six Nations, that French match against Ireland. And then really stunning, Hugo Keenan, Ireland against France, also in the Six Nations. And then my favorite, naturally, Vinaya Bossi, that was in that Fiji-Georgia match. And I feel like because of the context of the match and how closely it was fought, maybe he should get it. But I'm missing a few. I'm thinking about the Springboks against Scotland.
Come on. Well, what are we doing?
What on earth? How is that not even mentioned?
Crazy.
Because at first when I saw the first three, I thought, maybe the cutoff, they weren't including World Cup matches.
Yeah, because I would not add Sasha in it.
Even the chairs chiming in. Yeah, okay, yes. 100%, but I think that might have been too
cutoff,
late.
yeah.
That definitely, that's the only reason why Sasha's not in there with his URC try. I'm even thinking about that Twickenham match and the flying score from Cheslin Colby.
Yes.
And I'm not just being biased; those are stunners.
Yeah, I'm not sure. In this case, I think that we should crowdsource it and see what tries were getting engagement. But obviously, because they don't allow any video.
Oh, that could
So
be
they shut
it.
themselves in.
Yes. So, well, I won't be upset again if Fiji gets that one. Just I feel like the context of the match needs to be taken into account. If it's just the try itself, then sure, Duan can have it.
Yeah.
And then at least South Africa is in there. But also, it really was a beautiful show of individual skill, and he just, literally ran away with it.
Yeah.
And then the final one I want to talk about, of course, the main, if we can call it that, the main event is Player of the Year. I'm delighted with all of these. Of course, Antoine Dupont, he's in there. Bandiaki, I'm really happy for him because he carried Ireland in that, they lost, but still, their victory over the Springboks earlier in the World Cup.
Yeah.
He had a big hand in that, and then he was there for them against the All Blacks. He's phenomenal. He's got such a presence. We've talked about him before being such a threat, ball in hand, but also just being present. So I won't be mad about that. And then one of my favorite non-South African players, Adi Sevilla. I think he's everyone's favorite outside of their favorite. Like if you need, everyone, you need a team outside of your team. You need a player outside of your team.
Yeah.
He's mine, and I imagine that he's everyone's. He just has, he's tremendous. Words. And I'd be thrilled if he got it because it again carried New Zealand from time to time. And that Twickenham match, I wanted to give him man of the match because I felt like he was the only All Black who showed up. And I know that's a very different team to who's playing in the World Cup now. Not literally, because it is a lot of the same players, but the way that they played. And then, of course, he could be the greatest Springbok of all time, Eben Etzebeth. Any one of these four could win it, but I feel very strongly that now is the time to give it to Eben Etzebeth. Like you say, if they're going to go with the winning team,
Yeah.
which isn't fair because you can have someone like Bandiaki who went home at quarterfinals. He could still be the best player this year.
Yeah, look, I'm not someone that gets caught up with
Oh, come on.
individual player awards in a team sport.
Okay.
I can understand it for something where there are few team members, so something like basketball
Okay.
and even baseball, because you like one-on-one. That's a tennis sort of thing.
Okay.
That being said, I'd actually be happy with anyone winning it.
Okay.
I think Dupont just his turnaround and the fight that he showed, and then obviously, like you mentioned, Aki was brilliant for Ireland. And then Sevilla, coming into the World Cup, I thought he was the informed player.
Yeah.
Someone that can really exert his authority on the game and really change the game. You think of someone like Heinrich Rousseau when he was in his pomp. Someone that you really can't, and you have to game plan specifically for them. And then Eben, I think he probably went off the world this last performance against England. But up until then, stellar, didn't make much errors. I think this England game was just a bit of a downer. He did get the yellow, obviously, against France, but his impact coming on and then playing the remainder, he was really outstanding. And I do think, obviously, if the world champions, whoever they are, I think they will have the advantage of claiming the award.
Okay, well, those are those nominees for the World Rugby Awards. The ceremony takes place on Sunday the 29th That's of course the day after the final. There's going to be a parade and everything for the winners, and it's going to be a grand affair. We'd of course love your thoughts. Maybe you think these accolades are nice and you're on my side with this one. I hear what you're saying about, individuals and team sports, but sometimes it's just nice to celebrate individuals. All of these players are such hard workers and they contribute so beautifully to the game and to their teams. Now, while we're on the topic of individuals, let's wrap up our all-time greatest Springbok lineup. Today we're looking at the 15, the fullback. What have you got?
I think there can only be one. In my opinion, Percy Montgomery.
Wow.
I think he's our leading scorer in Test Rugby, vital in 2007.
Yes.
Endured quite a bit of abuse from his own fans and still produced. I heard, I was listening to a podcast, I think it was it's a Rugby Max podcast, and he was talking about the shirt that he was wearing.
Yeah.
And our Percy gave him this jersey.
Yeah.
And then apparently in Jake White's autobiography, or maybe Percy's, he played the 2007 World Cup with a serious injury. I can't recall exactly what.
Oh, yes.
No, I think it was his leg. And so they asked him while he was still playing, can you kick? And he said, as long as I land on the leg that is fine, I should be good. And he stepped up and slaughtered it.
Oh my goodness.
Like he really,
yeah.
That's like these tales of warriors.
Yeah.
Very, talk about put your body on the line. Someone that had all the excuse probably to say, well, these guys haven't really treated me well. And yet, he, did the job. Obviously, as a player, he started at centre. But he really made the 15 his own. Such an accomplished player. He had his ups and his downs, but I think consistent, like a class above when it comes to that era.
Era is the important word there, because he did all of what you said in that era. Before him, there was the Rolls Royce, and I want to believe that Percy, when making that move to 15, modeled some of his play off of the original, Andre Hubert, who, when I think fullback, I think Andre Hubert. He was, of course, the first fullback I knew, and he is what I know a fullback to be. And this is going to sound terrible, but he's probably why I've not really been able to trust. Sorry. I've not been able to trust Willie as much as I should. And I know Willie, it's tricky because we don't give him enough credit, and then he comes and he surprises you and all of that. I just mean, whenever a new 15 comes in, then you go, will he be Andre Hubert? Will he be that rock? And Percy, yes, the difference, of course, with Percy is he was also a goal kicker. Yeah. And I think that gives him a notch.
Gives him an edge.
Yes. Whereas Juba, he didn't have to do that because he had Stransky and later. Yeah, my vote goes to the legacy, because I think players like Percy and even players like Willie, I remember once, I think it was a Shapiro, or there was a cartoon that had Willie, but it was obviously a caricature, and he was a bit taller and bulkier, and it was to do with built like a Rolls Royce, because there were these big dreams, and maybe it was in his Griquas days, there were hints, and he had that in him. I've seen glimpses of it for the Springboks, and also I think class. Juba, oh my word, so classy. He was almost elegant, and I think maybe that's where the nickname came from. He was quite elegant in his ways, and that's just what I've always wanted a fullback to be, and so that's my candidate. But Percy, of course, also World Cup winner, and major contribution, as his points tally will show. And then I want to throw in some almosts, just because I know he was my almost for 12, but can he also be my almost? I want to mention Franz Steyn and his time at 15. You could trust him. Did you trust him?
Yeah. I mean, I think had he focused on playing fullback, this wouldn't be a discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Someone like Lambie as well. I think Lambie was a really great fullback. Unfortunately, obviously, injuries. Oh, Rose? No? Okay.
Saying Kirshner. I mean, might as well.
Yeah, I think Steyn has he's got everything really. He's got the boot of Percy, but I think he's got that physicality of Hubert, because Percy, people used to make fun of Percy for
He's like Nas.
for his lack of physicality. But I think just due to circumstances it played out, and it looks like South Africa's got a history of playing around with a fullback, moving them to centre. I mean, Willemse is currently in that vein, and I think we really have like massive disagreements with these choices.
Yeah.
So I think either one would be entirely valid, and just based on what they've done for the country, I think those are fair shots.
Yeah, I think that's why I was going for Franz Steyn, because even though he was mainly centre in 2007, in 2019 he did fill that fullback slot as well, and I don't know if we're gonna have an all-time greatest lineup without him, because he won 2 World Cups. So we got unless we're gonna go with a utility back. We can just get one utility back on the bench. That's
Maybe
what
we should do our bench.
Yeah. So those are our candidates. We're going Legacy, Andre Hubert, the Rolls Royce, and then Percy Montgomery. But of course we welcome your views as well. And I would also like to know, do you think Damian Willemse has it in him to become an all-time great Springbok fullback? Because give him time. He was part of the setup in 2019.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal this World Cup this year. I think he's got greatness in him.
It's unfortunate because obviously when he plays for the Stormers in Western Province, and they just signed Warwick Galant, so you think those opportunities will become less and less. So I don't foresee his future being there, unfortunately, because I think he's a great player, especially at fullback. So, time will tell. I think if the coaches decide you're going to focus on this, I think he'll definitely have a shout, and he's still young enough. I think he's probably got 2 more World Cups in him, comfortably actually. The sky's the limit for him. He is this generation's Franz Steyn in terms of when he started, his contribution, his talent. So it's entirely possible that he can stake a claim to that.
Awesome. Well, speaking of Damien and this World Cup and this generation, we are in for a treat. We've got the 2023 Rugby World Cup final on our doorstep. It is right here. We're moments away. I feel like it's the longest days waiting, but it's also just too fast. The starting lineup, we've got almost the same team. The only major changes, of course, at halfback. Handré Pollard and Faf de Klerk starting in 9 and 10 against the All Blacks in that final, and then a couple of changes on the bench. Trevor Nyakani coming in for Vincent Koch. Jacques Nienaber did explain that Koch was not medically 100% fit during practice, and it's team policy. I'm delighted to see Jasper Visser back in the makeup. And then we've got Jean Klein is back, and Willie Leroux is on the bench to make it a 7-1 split, which of course is once again a bit of a talk. But I thoroughly enjoyed the press conference where Jacques was kind of preemptive. He just said, these are the questions you're going to ask. Let me answer them.
Yeah.
And he addressed the 7-1 split and the risk factors. He talked about Koch. He talked about Mani's omission. He talked about all of those things. But what were your thoughts first glance, and also now that you've had some time to think it over?
Yeah, first glance, I was quite happy. I think we're playing into our strengths, particularly with the weather. And so I think they made a fine decision, and obviously we'll probably second guess them as the match rolls around. But I think the only, you have the storylines, and it's a bit of a shame to not see Mani there. But I think in terms, I like how they framed it. It's not Mani, or it's not ex-player that is left out. It's the Springboks that need to win, and this is going to give them the best chance. And yeah, it seemed like they had their eye on this, because when Jacques was covering possible questions, he mentioned about Colby playing at 9. He said he's been there for weeks. so obviously this is been in the pipeline, and this is the culmination. I'm happy that they are going with the risk. I prefer that they do this rather than play it completely safe. We don't win, but we didn't try anything.
Yes.
Like, I'm giving them an A for effort.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, I'm excited for what's going to take place.
So you look at this and you see risk. Some might look at Faf and Andre and think safe.
The risk is obviously Pollard's, what's this, his third game?
His third 30 minutes.
Yeah, so obviously there's that side of things. And the risk is any particular injuries, that can take place. And so they really are banking on the versatility of the players and the ability of the players in various options to not have a massive downgrade. What I do think, obviously, South Africa is a forward dominant team, and so to push into that strength. And I know a lot was made of the Twickenham match, but we can talk about the All Black team. This is a much, I would say, better,
awakened.
Yeah, it's a beefier. There's a bit more dogs in there. We are focusing on what we are good at, and we're going to exert ourselves. And I think that's initiative. We could always, what are the All Blacks? We're not.
No.
I mean, we release our team before them.
Yes.
I like that front foot. This is what you're going to get. See if you can stop.
Yeah, as long as that's translated onto the field.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in the semi-final, we did a lot of reaction.
Yes.
Reactive play.
Yeah.
We weren't setting the tone, setting the tempo. We were just not for the entirety. I mean, there were times when we took that over and then things went better.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the key, I think, is us putting the stamp on first.
Yeah. It's going to, I think, how the game unfolds is going to be important, because if we are made to chase a game, I know the blitz that we experienced in New Zealand, where we were 17-0 down or something of that nature, that cannot happen. Although I think because it did happen, we are way more equipped, because we know that we have these weapons to come on. And I think Bomb Squad was there in 2019, and I think they're going to have a massive impact again.
Well, then let's look at that New Zealand team. Whew, you said it, beefier. Frizzell for me as always makes me nervous.
Yeah.
And then of course up front, Stella. Even Williams coming on. He's youthful exuberance, but he packs a punch.
Yeah, I was also nominated for breakout player, so there's quality there.
For sure.
But I think man for man, South Africa when you're bringing on 2 URC champions in Klein and Erge, then all like a World Cup winning prop
Front row,
duo,
yes.
and then Dion Fourie who's playing
like he has a couple of medals.
Yeah, so yeah, Kwacha, and I'm glad to see Jasper in the mix because I think we did miss some of his impetus.
Yeah, we need some of those carries.
Yeah. The way I foresee it going is Bongi plays 80 again. This is just my
Does he
speculation.
have 80 in
He
him?
has 80. This scandal, non-scandal,
Has actually gone the reverse effect.
this is Eben being sent
Want.
off. This is Eben being sent off. You've awakened a man that is going to show you.
Sure.
And I mean, Rasi obviously changed his profile to Bongi. That's when you know.
Didn't we all?
That's when you
Yeah.
know. I'm not sure if you want to talk about this whole
The
debacle.
lack of a scandal.
Yeah, but bulletin board material.
Especially the response now, how they're disappointed
Yeah.
that not much is being done. We're disappointed because Kobus Reinach's family was threatened and there was no investigation. You were disappointed in them finding lack of evidence.
Yeah,
bulletin board. Yeah, they can do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's the whole situation was
It was a bit
but
bizarre.
farcical, yeah.
It was bizarre.
I think the boys are pumped and they've been there and they've done that.
Yeah.
But they know that this is actually what matters.
Yeah.
Faf was quite genuine when they asked him, you know, could you have ever envisioned this? And he said no. When I was young, I didn't think this far. And I appreciate that because it gives them perspective in what they've accomplished. And so they don't have, you know, this hang-ups. They're not even sure what they're capable, but they know if they give their best, things can happen. So we'll see. I'm feeling good about the team. For me, if we can keep it tight, I just don't see. And I'm expecting some coaching hijinks, you know, some cards up the sleeve. And if we just extend the, you know, player to player, coach for coach, there's only one winner there. So I think, you know, Schmidt and the defensive coach have helped enormously, but I don't think they have the facilities.
Imagine we could just scrap the game and go, okay, the coaches need to arm wrestle.
Come on, man. Come on.
Listen, I don't know how true this is or, you know, if it's real or whatever, but I saw this on Twitter where it's a quote, an excerpt. The All Blacks stormed into yet another final with a try-fest as their star winger and tournament-leading try scorer ran into a hat-trick of tries against their hapless opposition. The Springboks, however, narrowly scraped through their rain-drenched semi-final with a lone try ultimately deciding the result. Unconvincing at times throughout the tournament, the Springboks face a mighty challenge in trying to stop their much-favoured opponents this weekend. And that was apparently written in 1995.
Wow!
And then I remember the French semi-final was rained out and
Yes.
it was like a trudge.
Yes, like a
And that was obviously Jonah Lomo.
yeah, wow. History.
Destiny.
Are we seeing overtime?
Please no, I can't. Andre with the drop.
What was the bench in that 1995? How many forwards did we have?
Yeah.
Wow, listen, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Look, there's been many signs pointing to a Springbok win. I'm sure the All Blacks have their omens as well. So we obviously can't look too much into that. But I think the Springboks have invested so much from an emotional standpoint, and the danger was always the semi, I think, because they'd invested so much in the quarter. There were still 2 more games. It's tough to get you over that hump to say, you know,
Gotta
2
do
more
this again.
Yeah. Whereas if it's the last game,
It's like, come on, just a couple more minutes. Like it's.
I can give
the
it my all.
finish line is there.
Yeah, the
yes.
finish line is there. So eye on the prize, and I think that's going to take us home.
If you had to percentage it, is it like 40% the physical, actual game, like skills and playing and showing up, and then the rest is just mental.
They say when you get to the top level, the athletes, you very rarely get an athlete that is a standout in terms of physical ability. You have your anomalies like Jono and Eoban and those kind of guys. But once you get to the professional level, everyone's got an Eoban, you know, and it's the mentality that separates the men from the boys. And so I think obviously the All Blacks they've got that culture, that winning culture, but I don't think they have those players. You think of someone like a McCaw, like a Dan Carter.
Ooh, that's glory.
Yeah, that experience, that sort of intensity against Tri-Nations, Springbok teams of real quality, Australian teams came through adversity as well. Remember, they were like France had their number in World Cups, and so I just don't think they have that experience, and South Africa has had. And I think the experiences that were negative didn't have any real stakes. So like that Auckland game,
yes,
they smashed us. We came back, thought we were in it for a while, and then the game ran away from us. But that was good because no one really cares about that.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously they have these last two games where they really had to deep. I just, for me, the mental edge is with the Springboks. And then I said it's a burden, but it's also a platform for the reasons. The nation, rugby is on the downturn as a sport in New Zealand. It seems like it's increasing. We're producing more players. I don't know if you saw Hanekom's.
Oh, what? But come on, can we have that same flank energy with the fly halves, please? Because it's a factory once again.
Yeah, and to that we are playing towards our strength there,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Like Andre, I mean, people were talking about him, and his career is also insane.
Yeah.
He's delivered the goods countless times.
Yeah, from being a matriculant.
Yeah. That was a bogey that the under-20 team had to overcome, and Andre was part of that. So Andre's no stranger.
That's part of his mental capacity as well. He's
ice.
got that. Yeah.
Ice, right?
Yeah.
And so South Africa have many of those. Peter Stiff was in that team as well, Steven Kitsoff. And Jacques and Ras, they were talking about the player development. And he was talking about how he has a story for every single one of those players. Foster's got none of that.
Like, which Barrett are you?
Player, you skip, I still play you.
Yeah.
For me, that is what is going to win this.
Sure. You know, you called it from the beginning. You used to say, before we even started recording, you would talk about when. You never talked about if.
Wow. I surprised myself. I've said so many crazy things. Look at Argentina.
Don't.
Look, maybe
Come on, bronze.
Maybe they make the performance.
Yeah, and then you had it all.
Tim
You saw it all.
Stradamus.
You should be that seal.
Well,
that seal's got nothing on here.
And I think it's, for me, this has been my mantra since we've been recording.
I trust.
There we go.
No, please.
I trust the coaching team, and yeah, it's not going to end this last hurdle. It might even be strengthened.
Sure.
And so I just think, our team, our coaches, everyone involved, we've got the edge.
You know, finals have moments. If you think about, you can't think about 95 because you but if you imagine in 1995, everyone was talking about Jonah Lomo and the way he dominated. And I mean, he was incredible, but there was so much talk about him. And then that first tackle where you just...
I think you smashed him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen the highlights.
That moment, it was kind of... It's almost like everyone could start smiling because it was like, hold on.
Is this the boogeyman?
Yes. And fresher in our memories is 2019, that green line. England, they were going. And that green line would not move. And they talk about it in Chasing the Sun, where they kind of looked around at each other and they went,
we can win this.
Is this happening? What?
Yeah.
And Yeah, I wonder what those moments are going to be. Is it going to be Faf on Will Jordan going like, not today, you will not break that record? Or will it be Evan and Ardy at a ruck?
Yeah.
Or will it be a
Scott
scrum?
Barrett getting sent off
Oh
again.
my goodness, yeah.
Nah, I joke.
Or a stolen line out by JK or Argia or Sos.
Prediction time.
Oh,
Where do you think we win the match? What part of the game? Is Ox going to be the star,
he was
the darling?
They got their shine in the semis. I think the scrums will be pivotal, but I'm I'm going for a drop goal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
So Pollard is...
I'm just because I want this picture to be complete and the whole panic, the national panic when his name was not announced
Oh,
at
yeah.
that squad announcement. Everyone's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then the the exhale when he came on to replace a hooker. when he got flown in, and then also him coming on not last week necessarily, but you know, in the earlier matches it wasn't necessarily as critical, but he came on and he was who he was before, and it was like, okay,
Yeah.
he's here. And just because World Cup finals and drop goals are just so
Yeah. It's iconic.
yes, it makes for that movie.
I get you.
So that's what I'm going for. I mean, it might be something like a couple of stolen lineouts.
I was going to say, I feel like it's going to be a mall. That mall that's going to crawl for 20 odd meters.
Oh, hello, Malcolm's going to be like, go
Bongi.
from the side.
Yes. And Bogi's going to
And
be
Bogi's gonna do
tucked
it.
in at the back, and it's going to be a testament. I know, just talking about analysis and how the All Blacks can counter South Africa, they were talking about time in play, ball in play. You know, Foster's
Yes. Oh,
mentioned
that's his
this.
favorite stat.
And so it'll be interesting to see if they go that route. It's set up to be, you know, a match for the ages.
Yeah, it's gonna be gritty.
It's going to be gritty. I can't wait. And I also can wait because it's those 80 minutes are going to be the best and the worst.
Agreed.
But I think what we can say, we are very grateful to the team. They provided much joy in this tournament in various facets. You know, they play, their camaraderie, and the appreciation for the fans. And so my heart is obviously for the Springboks, and I think they will take it. And I think a mall, I want maybe a 15-man lineup. Is that possible?
Wales did it against the All Blacks.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I would love to see that. Something Rassi and Jacques inspired, you know? It will be a beautiful sight. It will be a beautiful sight.
Something that they practiced in a conference room.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, the great revelation. It's all happening this weekend. Do yourself a favor, everyone. You can either go onto goodthingsguy.com, that's the child of the Good Things Guy, Brent Lindecker. He shared Kearsney College, where Waylon Murray
Yes, I saw
is,
that.
you know, our other almost center.
And Keegan Daniel.
Yes, I was very sorry. It's one of my favorites. Where they're involved. Keegan being the new director of rugby.
Yeah.
They did an Iguijo, Boko My Dali, which is obviously Springboks, my darling. And in it, there's a line, Sekusele Kusele Kankani, and that means you're almost there. Do yourself a favor, go onto Good Things Guy. They've got, or I guess you could just search for it directly on YouTube, but it is like a highlighted story on goodthingsguy.com. Get into it, learn the lyrics, and let's sing it. Let's sing to our Springboks, our darlings, that they're almost there and they must bring it home.
Yeah, definitely.
It is a real feel good and it's just lovely to see the passion on the faces of those young men as they cheer for our national team, and it'll definitely get you in the spirit as well. That's if you need help getting into the spirit. If that doesn't do it for you, Cyril Ramaphosa did promise that Monday would be a public holiday if the Springboks win. So if you're motivated by that, whatever it is that you need to tell yourself, get behind the box.
I know there was a Take A Lot special where Take A Lot was offering refunds. So if you bought a TV, they would give you your money back. I'm assuming in Take A Lot credit or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I'm sure there's many people, even All Black supporters, that will be looking to support their bank. So, whatever angle gets you going.
Yeah.
Back your boy, kiss.
Just do it. Dra net die ding, man. Yeah. So that's it from us for now, but we'll be back with a review regardless. Hopefully there'll be a shampompo, shampimpi. Thank you so much for joining, and please do share your insights and feedback. You're welcome to it. We'd love to hear from you. Timothy?
Bye-bye.
This is Nice Try for the fans.